Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 2 of what's this series called? This is Game Dev No Cuts. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, what does that even mean? Well, I will show you. Basically, in this series, I show how to do game development stuff here in Unity, and I don't cut a single part of the process. So, as you can see, this is my video editor, and now I am uninstalling it because I don't need it anymore. So, what is it that I'm going to be showing you today? Well, today we're going to be working on this game that I am going to call Just Duel. It is a Souls-like, but what the heck? Oh, surveys. Stinking thing. But as you can see, this Souls-like lacks quite a few Souls elements. There is no stamina, no health, and no dodge rolling, most importantly. So, today, we are going to be working on adding health, stamina, and magic to this game. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to create a script. What should we name this script? We should call it player health and stuff. Opening it up in Visual Studios. This is for effects. You're welcome. Since I can't add them in, I have to just sort of, play them in the perfect possible moments. So you'll see when that is. All right. So, first thing I always like to do is just delete everything. And then we're going to want to make some variables. Max health. Max stam. And max magic. Then we also want health. So this would be like the current health that you're at. And the current stamina. And magic, except we don't want the public part. And then we want our characters to be able to be damaged. So we want void take damage. And we are going to want a integer. Oh, I guess these can all be ints actually, just to make it simpler. You'd only make them floats if you were planning on having fractional decreases or increases in health. But since all of my health values are going to be like 1, 2, between 0 and 100 basically, I don't need floats. So we're going to want an integer damage. And we're going to want to make this void for all three things, for health, stamina, and magic. So we'll just add stamina damage and magic damage. And just to make it easier, I'll just put an S and an M. And to be honest, that might not even be necessary. Okay. And I just realized that we do actually want the start function. So you're going to type in void start, and then when you see this little thing pop up, just press tab, and it'll automatically generate the start method, which is called before the update method, and it's like only called once. And in the start method, we're going to have our health equal max health. So basically every time you boot it up, you'd get more health, or your health would be completely full. We may change this in the future because, like, let's say you exit out of the game and then you log back on. If we leave it just like this, then if a character was like fighting a boss, they could exit out, come back in, and their health would be completely refilled, which is no bueno, but this is only like the beginnings, so it's not a big deal. So, yep, the computer knows exactly what we want to do. We want to set our health to the max health, stamina to max stam, etc. Down here in each of these voids, we want to say magic, or not magic, this is damage. I'm sorry, it is health. Health minus equals damage. And we're going to do the equivalent for each of these. Also, these are going to be public so that other scripts can access them. So like when you get hit with a sword, the sword's damage script attached to it could actually affect this script. So we have health, we have stamina, so stam minus equals damage, and magic minus equals damage. All right. So that's basically most of what we have to do for scripting, I believe. Now we want to go into our character prefab. And in here, we want to switch into 2D mode. Zoom all the way out so that we can, hello? Or we want to zoom in on our UI stuff right here, our canvas, as they say. Now, expanding out our canvas, we want to go to the HUD, or the HUD. And as you can see, the HUD is kind of what is on your screen all the time. So we want our health bar to always be visible, which means we're going to open the HUD and we're going to create a new empty object. And we're going to call this our something. We're going to call it something. Health and stuff. Well, we don't want to call it that. We'll call it health folder. Because in this game object, we are going to put all of like the health bars and the stamina bars and stuff. But before we do that, we're going to want to attach the script that we just made. And for now, we'll just set all of these. Well, it doesn't matter for now. We're going to be coming back to the script in a little bit so that it can actually control the HUD. Yeah, that's what it's called. Anyway, so we have our health holder right here, and we want to put this kind of in the top left, like how Elden Ring has it. Shift, Alt, and I guess that works. You can see it up there now. Let's make it bigger. Till it looks just about right. I guess that's good. And now we can kind of focus in on it. Now, I believe we want to do is we want a vertical layout group. And now we want 3 other things. We want 3 other empties. These empties won't stay empty for long. This is going to be the health bar, the stamina, and last but not least, magic. Let's add an image so that we can kind of see what each of these are, or where they are. Not really fitting inside this square very well. So what we then do is we go up to here and we set the control child size to both the width and the height. Now it's just a blank white thing, but if we increase the spacing, you'll see that we now have 3 bar looking things. So that's all good. These images are going to probably end up being like the background images for our actual health bar. So these can just be like a nice gray color probably, which I have one preset so that it kind of fits with the UI. And then within each of these, I guess we'll start with the health bar. We're going to create a UI, and we're going to want another image, and we'll make this red, just a simple red. And we're also going to want a layout component, or is it a scalar? Okay. I am going to show you a tutorial now because I don't remember how to do this. This document right here is the collection of all knowledge I have gathered on video games. I can link it in the description if you're interested, but on here there's a tutorial for health bars. Yep, by Brakeys.
Have you guys ever heard the one about the polar bear that...
And right now we're just skipping around until we find the component he uses to allow his thing to work. UI image.
color, but I'm going to go ahead and put it above our border so that it shows underneath. And up here in the rect transform, we can see the different anchor presets. I'm going to hold down Alt and click on the bottom right one. This is going to...
Okay. Yes, that was unprofessional, but whatever. I'm not a professional, so I can do what I want. Take this, fill it, and then what does he do?
to scale the image to fill our entire health bar, and it's also going to set the anchor points around this health bar so that if we change the scale of our health bar, we change the scale of our fill as well. Let's then go ahead and rename this to fill. Let's also select our health bar and just scale it to fit inside of our border to make sure that none of the fill shows outside. And the cool thing about this setup here is we can take our fill now and simply scale it here in order to create the illusion of our health going up and down. And an even cooler thing is that the UI system actually has a component that makes this incredibly easy to control. So let's select our health bar here, and let's go ahead and add a slider component. I'm going to make this non...
There we are. A slider component. That's the thing that I was missing. Image. Slider. Okay, we're going back to the tutorial.
non-interactable, I'm going to set the transition to none, navigation to none, and this way we make sure that it's just a completely static object and that we can't interact with it within the game. However, if we now take our fill here and drag it into the fill rect, we can see that we get this value slider. And just by adjusting this slider, we can...
Okay, he puts the slider in the parent object, or you would put it in this one, not in this one. So we grab the slider, we grab the fill, which is this, I believe, and now, what? Oh, that's the color multiplier. There it is. Okay. So as you can see, we now have our basic health bar going. And want it set to, we do not want it set to that. Okay. Now we want to link our script here with that bar, or all of these bars eventually. And the simplest way to do that is to go public slider. Oh, that is not what we want. All right, I'm just making a void right here. Called adjust slider. And I could be wrong. Let's see what he does in his script. Okay, he is using the unity.ui namespace. So we go to here, say using Unity engine dot UI. And now I believe we can come to here and say public slider. Yes, there it is. Slider. And yes, the thing did predict what we wanted. Except I like to make objects have a capital at the start, and numbers have a lowercase at the start. That way I can sort of differentiate just by looking at it. Yep. And the computer just predicted everything. And now there's two ways we can go about doing the next part, how we control these sliders. If we look at the slider, we're able to set the minimum and the maximum value. So we could set this manually to like 100, for example. And then this, I believe, should go between 0 and 100. So that way I can do my whole numbers thing. Integers always work. Or via script, we could also use like a proportion. Use math to like turn my max health, or my health out of max health, into a decimal. So let's say I have 100 health and I have 50, or 100 max health and 50 health, which means I would have half health. And then this could be set to 1/2. That's an extra step. I don't really want to do it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this to whole numbers. And instead of manually changing this right here to 100, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go to this start method. And I'm going to say health slider dot max value is going to equal max health, like that. And then I can go health slider dot value is also equal to max health, or I could make it equal health. Either way, it would do the same thing since we just set max health equal to health. And we repeat this for all of the other ones. I'm going to set this one to max health so that the computer kind of understands what I'm doing. Max stam. We'll see if the... Okay. Computer's too dumb to predict this. Stam slider dot max value, or value actually, is going to equal max stam. And then we do the same thing for magic. So magic slider, max value equals max magic. And then we have, there it goes, and it predicted it. Oakley dokley. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a separate script for taking damage and adjusting the slider. And the reason I'm doing that is because later we may or may not be implementing multiplayer into this. And so when you're doing multiplayer, it's better to kind of keep the numbers stuff, the health stuff, like the actual raw data, separate from adjusting a player's UI, because another player wouldn't want to adjust a damaged player's UI from their perspective. It'd be really complicated and not good. So we're going to make a separate script for it. So we will say health slider dot value. We're going to set this to the health slider equals health. And now we take that, copy it, paste it, and paste it a third time. And instead of saying health here, we say stam. And instead of health here, we say, you guessed it, magic. And change the sliders it's referencing. And the float, or not the float, the integer it's referencing. So this would be just stam, I believe. Yes. And now at the ends of each of these right here, we're going to want to call the matching slider thing. So take it right here and we just say adjust health slider. Adjust stam slider. And finally, adjust magic slider. Aha, that needs to be magic. Alrighty, so now we can go into Unity again, let the scripts reload, and I'm actually going to delete these two, which will make our health bar really big, but now what we can do is we can take our health bar, Control D to duplicate it twice, or Control D twice to duplicate it twice, and rename each of these bad boys to their names, I guess, back to their names. And now we're going to want to change the colors because, of course, we do, so that we can tell the difference. And then we take each of these and we're going to insert them into these slots. So the health slider takes the health. Stamina slider takes the stam. And the magic slider takes a magic. We're going to set each of these to 100, 100, 100. Just to kind of make it simple. And then hit play, and we should, yep, we have our, oh, the magic is still gray. Let's see, what mistake did we make? We're going to go back into play mode, but not maximize it, so that we can actually mess around in the inspector window. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it must have been working, but it freaked out because the prefab must not have changed. Okay, so we have our health bars, and now if we go into here, into the actual scene, and we search for our health bars, let's see. Now we can adjust our value, which is set to 100, and when we adjust it, you can see our health bar goes up and down. All right, which is exactly what we want. And now, what is next, you might be wondering. I am wondering the same thing. Now, we're done. Yeah, that's how you do it, guys. That is how you make a health bar, stamina bar, and a, magic bar. Next time, we're probably going to be actually implementing like health drain, stamina drain, and magic drain. So stick around to see that. Thanks for watching.